Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainbows.com, and today we're making this guy and this guy. We are making the Reversible Hat Lovey Gnome. This is such a popular pattern for great reason, and if you would like to make him with me, just boop, stick around. As always, please give this video a like so I know you're here. All right, so here he is, 6 to 7 inches tall. The pattern is down below. It's so popular because you can sew it or you can use a hot glue gun. These are just some examples that I have made. So today I'm going to be using two Christmassy sort of colors, fabrics, some fleece or felt for the body, fur, and then I'm also going to be using my sewing machine, a hot glue gun, some needle and thread, and basic gnome making supplies like weight and fill. All right, so here you can see I'm just cutting out the two body pieces. There's one with the dart system, which I've shown 3 times in videos, and I do have a separate one just for hot gluing. Go ahead if you're sewing and pin those right sides together. If you're hot gluing, glue those right sides together on the body following the pattern. So for everybody, you're going to cut 2 hats. So one of each pattern, you're going to cut them the exact same way. First you hem and then you sew up this long edge on the back. You can see here, I always pull it apart to make sure that my seams are solid, but isn't that a pretty fabric? Anywho, you're going to repeat that with the other, but do not turn that one right sides out. So you have one that's right side out and one that's wrong side out. Go ahead and finish up your body however you're doing it, hot glue or sewing. Here I'm just going to finish up the body and add the dart system at the bottom. All right, so next step is just to turn this right sides out and be sure to run the base between your fingers to make sure that seam sits flat, and poke out the top of the body because that's the base for our hat. I get asked a lot about weight and fill for gnomes. I prefer using non-food, non-moisture absorbing products like poly beads, which are plastic pellets. I do not recommend using anything that can sprout, anything that can attract critters, or anything that absorbs moisture like Epsom salt. All right, so here we're going to stuff the entire body and all the way up into the tip of the hat. I get asked a lot about when you know it's enough, and the answer is when you squeeze it, if it bounces back to its shape that you want, that's enough stuffing. Instead of using white, which I'm using only to show you here, use a coordinating thread or a hot glue and zipper off the back of that guy. All right, now for the body, you can set him aside. We're moving on to the coolest hat. All right, so you can see here I have 2. One that is wrong side out and one that is right side out. Go ahead and snip all of your, threads, and this seam on the wrong side out one, make it really narrow, 1/16 of an inch, at most 1/8 of an inch. Again, you're going to cut all of your threads off, and then be sure to poke out the tips of both of the hats because we're going to line those up and they fit so nicely inside each other. You can see here, we're going to make sure, yeah, I forgot to snip off all the threads. Okay, whatever. So here's your options. You can take this to your sewing machine after you get it all lined up, making sure the seams are lined up in the back as well. And you can top stitch that all the way around. You can also use hot glue, and you can also stitch it by hand. There's tons of ways. Now, if you are using a bendable wire, like a floral wire, to have a bendable brim, use the hot glue. Or hand sew it, but just don't take the wire over to your sewing machine unless you're really practiced with that. I am going to be using my hot glue gun because it was warmed up already and I'm lazy. So I did cut a length of Sherpa fleece. The best part about Sherpa fleece is that it's so fuzzy. It covers a lot of sins. I love working with it, and it comes in a lot of varieties of neutral colors. The bad part is it attracts lint and wolf hair from like 1964. I don't know. It's amazing what I find in that. But anyway, I'm just going to go and hot glue the brim all the way around, and making sure that no hot glue is escaping. So let's say you don't want to use a trim, that's fine. And if you have a little bit of hot glue, like I just had a mountain of hot glue right there, just push it together, pull it out, and then cut it off. Okay, so let it dry and then cut it off of the seam. All right. And now again, I'm going to be using this Sherpa fleece, and I'm going to be using it to wrap around the seam, and it'll show on both sides of the hat. If you want to make two different trims, you totally can do that. Just you're going to have to make sure they line up right at the join point on the underside, which is a little bit tricky. So if you're a beginner, maybe just try a wrap, like an edge trim that wraps over both edges. You can see here I'm just burning myself like a lot as I'm putting this on, because I'm adding the glue and then I'm pushing it up either side so that the glue wraps up each side. So you're going to want to look at it from both the inside and the top. So if you turn it up, just make sure that it's being applied evenly all the way around. Here's a hint. Use Sherpa fleece or this lamb's wool fleece. I'm telling you, it covers so many imperfections. I love this stuff. Here you can see I'm just making sure that it looks really good on both sides right there. All right, and then I'm just going to finish this all the way around. So I am doing this at normal speed because I was asked to do this at normal speed, and I hope you enjoy this. This is a very quick gnome to put together. It's not hard at all, and that may be why it's a popular pattern, right? Because people can sew it, people can glue it. You can use the dart system on the bottom. You can use the or not use the dart system at the bottom. I just love it. All right, so here you go. Line it up with the back, little hunchback guy, and make sure the tips are all the way in each other. And then it's time for faux fur. If you are new to cutting faux fur, put down the scissors and grab a straight blade. You can cut faux fur with scissors, however, a straight blade is just a whole lot easier. I'm just eyeballing the measurement of how high I want my gnome's beard to be and how wide. And then I would always recommend you put hot glue only on the top of the beard because, watch. No, yes. See? And then once you like it, then you can glue down the bottom. You see? So always measure twice, cut once kind of thing. Slip on the hat, make sure it's in the right place, and then measure for where you'd like your nose. Your nose can be a wood round, like I'm using a clay bead that you made out of polymer clay and baked. It can be a nylon with polyfill inside, anything you'd like. I don't live on a hill, so I don't know why that rolled. You're going to split the fur to its fabric backing, add a generous portion of hot glue, and press that nose in until it fits. From there, you can just position your hat, and guess what? Your guy is ready for the big show. If you're using arms, you would attach them to the body and not to the hat, and here he is. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. A, what would you name him? B, do you have a favorite? I know you're not supposed to choose, but that one's my favorite. All right, the pattern link is down below, and hey, thanks for being here. Here's a gnome playlist if you'd like to watch more.